back to another video, and today I'm doing some little acrylic portraits on this very tiny A5 watercolor pad. So I'm going to be using my Daler and Rowney acrylics that I had here in Portugal, and I'm using this little acrylics slash mixed media slash watercolor pad that I got in my palette full box, and it's the Strathmore watercolor pad. But before we get into that, today's video is actually sponsored by Amino. And if you don't know what Amino is, they're basically an app like sort of another kind of social media, but very based around communities and your interests. And they've actually got this new thing that they're putting out called Amino Stories, where artists such as myself and other people in the community post tutorials, stories, videos, process videos of their art. And yeah, if you basically download the app and look me up, you'll find my profile and you can have a look at the stories that I've put up already, and you can follow me. There's a whole sort of community part on the profiles where we can chat and you can post stuff on the wall, and it's all very fun. So yeah, thank you so much to Amino for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys download it and find it as interesting as I did. For yourselves. So yeah, getting into the painting, I just put some masking tape on the edges of the paper, and also just one separating the two mini portraits that I'm going to be doing. And I'm then just went in with the sketch of the paintings. I didn't really think too much about them for this one. I just kind of wanted to sit down and paint freely. But yeah, I just wanted to paint two different portraits, and I hadn't really painted with acrylics in a bit, so I kind of didn't want to go rusty. And yeah, this is just like a little exercise, and I decided to draw out these two like little goddess looking ladies and make them look quite ethereal and beautiful. And I decided to use some quite bright colors, because if you don't know, I'm trying to like use a lot more color in my works and just working a lot more with colors that I'm not used to using. Ever since I got this book called Palette Perfect, I've just been experimenting a lot more with different color palettes and basically just getting a bit out of my comfort zone with color, and it's been inspiring a lot of work actually. And after doing the sketch layer, I just put out my acrylics on this little plate and just got to work basically. So I'm not really sure what paintbrushes I was using. I just kind of brought a bunch of paintbrushes for my holidays here in Portugal, and I just think they were some that I had lying around. So I'm not sure they're like anything specific, but the acrylics are from Daler and Rowney. So for the painting on the left, I decided to just give it like a nice blue sort of turquoise background color, as I think it would look really nice with all the gold jewelry that I was thinking of giving her. Because this is such a tiny little area to work with, I used all of my like smallest paintbrushes obviously, and it was very interesting adding in all the detail as I could with these very, very tiny paintbrushes on the face, because faces alone are quite hard to paint, let alone when they're very, very tiny. So it was quite a nice challenge actually. And then I started adding in all the shadows and stuff to her face, and adding like little blushes. And meanwhile, I was trying to figure out what color hair to give her, because I couldn't figure out if I should go light or dark to contrast with the background. I tried out going light, but I think I actually preferred going dark with it because she has a light skin tone. And then I thought it'd be really cool for the other portrait to give her like really light colored hair, like a nice pastel color, considering she's gonna have dark skin. So that's kind of how I decided to do the hair colors I've been thinking a lot more in terms of like contrast and how colors like work with each other, rather than just like, I think this color's pretty, so I'm going to use it, because that's what I used to do, but there was always something off with the composition and the color and the values of paintings, and now I realize why. It's because I didn't know anything. But I've been learning a lot more about colors and how to use colors in art, so I've been focusing a lot more on how the color interacts with the whole painting rather than just on its own, and it's a very interesting new way to look at it, which is really cool. And then I just started adding in all the details to her face and the hair. So yeah, then I colored in her dress and or top or whatever it is that she's wearing, and started shading in like her chest area, and then I went into adding her jewelry, which I kind of have been experimenting with like different types of accessories and stuff like that on my characters, and I actually drew a digital drawing a while back where the character that I drew had this sort of like snake headpiece in gold, and I thought it looked really, really cool. I saw something similar on Pinterest and I just thought it looked amazing. So I've been kind of obsessed with doing that. It kind of gives me a lot of Cleopatra vibes, and I just think it looks really cool, and adding all the little like head spikes and the necklace. And then after adding all of the highlights and stuff and the final touches on her hair, on her eyes, on the jewelry, I kind of just went into the other painting afterwards. For the record, both of these paintings took me altogether like maybe an hour to do. So I try to spend like no more than like half an hour on each one, because I did want them to be like sort of quick little small portrait studies. So yeah, that is more or less how long I spent on these. For the other painting, I decided to give it like a more of a corally background. Not sure why. Again, this is me going back to my impulse of just using whatever color comes to mind, which isn't a bad thing. It's just I just kind of go with it. But it ended up looking pretty cute. I think it ended up looking nicely next to the other teal blue. And then I started blocking out all the shades and the skin tones for her face. And this is kind of what I call the ugly phase of the painting. It just kind of looks like very weird and geometric and just not nice. But I think it's like a really cool stage to like look at and experiment new things. So I've been trying to keep my drawings a lot more painterly and being less perfect with them and brush strokes and stuff. So this is definitely a stage where I'm like trying to change things up a little bit, if that makes any sense, like my process and stuff. So I then like kind of started noticing how ashy I had made the highlight section of her face, because I was mixing the colors all wrong. So I was actually ending up with just like a grayish color for the highlights instead of like, a normal skin highlight. So I kind of just kept going over and over those spots like over and over again with different colors of seeing what looked better or worse, and it ended up not looking exactly how I wanted it to, but again, I didn't want to spend over 30 minutes on it, so I kind of kept it as it was. But again, food for thought. gotta work on, you know, mixing skin tones, especially with wet media, because I'm good at it with like digital art, but when it comes to wet media, I feel like I'm out of practice a little bit with mixing colors, as you can definitely see by how ashy her skin tone ended up turning out to look like on the right. I feel like I'm just very used to just, you know, adding white to whatever color I've decided as my midtone, rather than actually working with different hues and adding, you know, more pink and more yellow depending on the undertone of the skin type that I'm actually painting. So that's definitely something to work on and practice. So yeah, for her hair, I decided to give her like this really cool platinum afro, and I think it ended up looking really cool. I wish I could pull off hair like that, to be honest. So yeah, I just kind of added some highlights and shadows to her hair, as well as adding all the jewelry to her as well, and highlights and stuff like that, which kind of made it a bit better. Which kind of made the whole painting overall a little bit better, and I feel like the hair kind of made the skin, I can't tell if it made it look better or worse, if I'm being honest, but, you know, mistakes that I'm gonna learn lessons from, you know? So then I added in all the jewelry and stuff on her, and added, again, some spikes, some head spikes. I love head spikes, guys. I just... big love for head spikes, and yeah, just kept adding jewelry and like little details and stuff to her, and this one was really fun to do. Actually, it had some nice colors, and it was pretty fun. So then I just added a bunch of highlights to her hair and kept adding like little details, and then afterwards I thought it'd be fun to go over the paintings with my light blue micron pen, and I've been really into colored outlines recently. Whenever I do outlines, I think it looks really cool to do them with like a different colored pen or liner or whatever. I just think it looks really stylized and cool, and I Fifal, it's a Fifal on Instagram, that an artist that I love that does this a lot, and I felt really inspired by that. So yeah, just kind of went over the some of the outlines with this blue, and I think it gave it like a little extra something, you know. And then you know what time it is. It's time for that peel porn. That's right. This is my favorite part of painting. I feel like everyone agrees that this is the absolute best part. But peeling the tape at the end of painting is just the most satisfying thing. Look at all those clean edges. Yes. So yeah, I filmed this bit just for you guys, up close and personal. That's right. And yeah, that was pretty much it for my painting session. I then of course just kind of set everything together so you can kind of see the stuff I used. And yeah, thank you again so much to Amino for sponsoring this video. If you guys are interested in going to see my page on Amino and following me there, the links are down there in the description. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this process video of me just painting some mini portraits. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.